The day Ivy and Jason had their most explosive fight. Jason slapped Ivy across the face for the sake of his beloved girl. In retaliation, Ivy broke 3 of his ribs. Jason screamed about divorce while Ivy refused. Ivy thought they'd be locked in this stalemate until death. But reality humbled Ivy swiftly. 3 months later, Ivy fell madly in love with this sweet, innocent younger guy Ethan, who kept begging Ivy to make things official. Reluctantly, Ivy fished out that familiar number from her blocked contacts. When the call connected, Emily's saccharine voice chirped, "Ivy, too late now. Even if you come crawling like a dog, Jason won't spare you a glance. Tell Jason I want the divorce." Ivy replied calmly. The phone rustled before Jason's tightly controlled voice emerged, "Ivy, you wouldn't dare." During their worst year, after Ivy had confronted Emily, Jason retaliated by backhanding Ivy and filing for divorce. For years, he demanded Ivy become more docile, more refined like Emily. That first divorce threat changed everything. Ivy pinned him to the floor, shattered 3 ribs, and choked him unconscious before he could finish speaking. As Jason's eyes rolled back, Ivy hissed her final warning, "Divorce is impossible. You created this monster. Emily remains the mistress. Both of you forever trapped in my shadow." Ivy had mapped out years of vengeance, prepared safe houses for prolonged warfare. 3 years of marriage had transformed Ivy from blushing bride to deranged avenger. These two had broken Ivy, and Ivy vowed to haunt their every waking moment. Yet fate laughs at mortal plans. 3 days into Ivy's grand vendetta, Ivy found Ethan collapsed at her doorstep. Rumor said Jason was ranting about Ivy's madness to hospital visitors. Ivy had dressed to provoke him, scarlet silk swirling. When Ivy tripped over this starved college kid, Ethan had been robbed, scammed from 3 days' wages, now delirious with hunger. His fingers clutched Ivy's crimson hem as he whispered "Mom" through cracked lips. "Valorant?" Ivy deadpanned to the unconscious stranger. Later, Ethan explained that moment how Ivy's red dress mirrored his birth mother's last outfit before abandoning him in a park. Half dead on Ivy's porch, he'd thought Ivy an angel retrieving his soul. When he confessed this, Ivy's laughter died mid-chuckle. The boy crouched before Ivy, all 6'3" of muscle softened by puppy dog eyes. His head tilted against the sofa, silent concern radiating as Ivy unraveled. No judgment. Just this gentle giant watching Ivy crumble. Realizing the malicious behavior I'd just directed at such an innocent, almost transparent soul filled me with frustration. Yet I didn't know how to apologize. 3 years of toxic marriage had taught me only to mask vulnerability with aggression and bluster. My entire existence had become entangled with Jason, nearly making me forget I'd once been Harbor City's most accomplished heiress before marrying him. That poised, self-assured version of myself seemed buried in memory's deepest vaults. The present me brimmed with worldly resentment, believing I'd remain forever trapped in bitterness. But Ethan reached out, pawing at my hand like an eager puppy until my palm opened to receive the pendant he always wore, a birth gift from parents who'd cherished him before tragedy struck. After his father's accidental death and mother's remarriage abandonment, this trinket remained his sole connection to childhood warmth. Now he placed this last treasure in my hand, declaring this used to be my most precious possession. But you're what matters most now. I want you to have it, maybe it'll bring you joy. He gently curled my fingers around the pendant, brushing his lips against my clenched fist. This occurred during Ethan's 3rd month living in my home. I'd initially taken him in with cynical curiosity, waiting to see what he might want from me. Yet he simply tied on an apron and bustled about my kitchen, mastering new recipes with surprising dexterity. The same spatula I'd bought for clobbering Jason during arguments looked comically small in his work-roughened hands. Yet he wielded it with effortless precision. Sunlight illuminated his amber puppy dog eyes as he smiled, humming while cooking. Compelled by strange impulse, I asked why he seemed so content. "Because I get to cook for you," he answered simply. The response held layered meanings: gratitude for having someone to nourish, relief at stable living conditions, or perhaps deeper affection. Faced with his transparent sincerity, I chose not to probe further. under my protection. Ethan had secured decent employment where none dared bully the parentless, kind-hearted youth. At 19, he'd abandoned college dreams after scholarship losses, arriving in the city only to get swindled at the train station. Now sporting proper clothes I provided, he commuted eagerly each day, returning with grocery bags insisting I needed fattening up. His massive hands would hover uncertainly around my wrists, chiseled features creasing with concern. Ironically, I maintained athletic build from boxing classes taken to pummel Jason and Emily. But Ethan's farm labor-honed physique dwarfed mine. His appetite matched his stature, ravenous during homeless days, now contentedly munching while wearing soft smiles. Despite his imposing frame, social interactions flustered him. Coworkers reported his quiet diligence, completing both assigned and volunteered tasks without complaint. Ethan embodied open-hearted sincerity, my polar opposite. Where I saw shadows, he carried sunlight in his pockets. Where I armored myself with bitterness, he offered vulnerability without shame. This golden retriever of a man, all earnest gestures and crinkled eye grins, was dismantling my defenses one homemade meal at a time. These days, I've become consumed by darkness, obsessing over ways to torment my cheating husband Jason and his little mistress. Just because I missed my chance to flaunt my recovery at the hospital when Ethan almost died on my doorstep doesn't mean I've given up on making Jason suffer. This man who chased me relentlessly throughout our 27 years as childhood friends, who swore to protect me like some fairy tale prince, only to grow bored within a year of marriage and chase after Emily, that carbon copy knockoff of my younger self. Our last confrontation happened in Jason's office. I'd gone to discuss divorce papers after 3 years of marriage that left me emotionally drained. There beneath his mahogany desk crouched Emily, exchanging sly glances with my husband while pretending to be hidden. She actually thought I wouldn't notice her smirking against Jason's thigh until I strode over and yanked her out by her hair. The satisfying crack of my palm against her flushed cheek still echoes in my memory. Ivy. Jason's voice cut through the ringing in my ears. I turned just in time for his backhand to slam across my face, stars exploding behind my eyelids. He looked down at me with that infuriating smirk. Finally learned to fight for my attention? Pity it makes you look pathetic. His words blurred into white noise as I remembered our first date, how he'd called me his proud princess under the moonlight. Now he spat venom. Emily knows how to please me. You need to prove you still deserve me. At charity galas, Emily would cling to Jason's arm like some trembling fawn while society watched our icy standoffs. I kept my spine steel straight beneath crystal chandeliers, my refusal to bend becoming both crown and shackle. Yet whenever I tried leaving, Jason would corner me in shadowed corridors, lips grazing my neck as he murmured, "My stubborn rose, your defiance turns me on." The night I finally snapped, I had Jason pinned beneath me, marble ashtray rising and falling with wet thuds. "Think you can humiliate me?" I screamed, watching blood bloom across his designer shirt. Emily cowered nearby, too terrified to squeak. "Keep this up and I'll divorce you," Jason choked out, still trying to maintain control even as his face split open. Laughter bubbled from my throat. "Know what's beautiful, Jason? Spousal abuse charges get dismissed with marriage counseling." I leaned closer, teeth gleaming. "We're staying married. I'm going to ruin you slowly." His widening pupils reflected my unraveling sanity. As my hands found his throat, part of me wanted to finish it, but death would be too merciful. These trembling fingers sustaining me through endless nights aren't shaking from fear, but anticipation. Let the world call me hysterical. Let them whisper about the unhinged wife. My entire existence now revolves around making Jason regret ever picking that rose. The next second, a gentle warmth pressed against my palm. Turning around, I found Ethan kneeling by my knees. He carefully pried open my hand marked with crescent-shaped indentations from my nails. After unsuccessfully trying to massage my palm and offer water, he finally pressed his flushed cheek against mine, pulling me back from emotional turmoil. The teenager now gazed at me with earnest puppy eyes, his face caught between youthful innocence and striking angular features that hinted at mixed heritage. Though undeniably handsome, Ethan's crystalline gaze held such purity that it discouraged any improper thoughts. His crimson-tipped ears and burning cheeks couldn't disguise the genuine concern in his expression. "Please stop hurting yourself," he pleaded softly after gathering courage, lifting my other hand to rest atop his bristly hair. When Ethan first arrived, I jokingly demanded unlimited access to touch his crew-cut texture as part of our living arrangement. Now watching his clumsy attempts at comfort, I finally asked the question burning in my throat, "Ethan, what do you really want after staying by my side all this time?" There was a time I believed in soul-deep connections. Jason had slipped a handmade ring onto my finger when we were 5, declaring me his princess to protect forever. Throughout school years, he shielded me from other suitors while maintaining similar distance from admirers himself. With Ivy here, he'd scoff at approaching girls. "Why would I look at you?" He waited 3 years during my London studies, visiting whenever possible. I still remember him embracing me during first snowfall, whispering heartfelt yearnings. When I returned to battle my father's illegitimate heirs for inheritance, Jason cheered me on. "I'm dating a future CEO," he joked after I secured my first company. "Better work hard to avoid being called a gold digger." The night he proposed, fireworks lit the entire city. Under kaleidoscopic skies, he vowed to cherish me forever with convincing sincerity. Yet I overlooked subtle warnings like when he'd muse about wives transforming into doting partners post-marriage, asking with hopeful eyes if I might do the same. I'd playfully push his forehead, "Want all the advantages." "Huh?" He'd sigh dramatically, "Marrying a powerhouse means following her into battle." Now he lavished Emily with all the romantic gestures once reserved for me, buying duplicate gifts in greater quantities. "Such obedience deserves rewards," he'd say of her. To me, he sighed, "Ivy, fairy tales end at weddings. You're my wife now, focus on maintaining our marriage, not that worthless company." Blood turned to ice in my veins as he savored my shock. "Given the chance, I'd still fall for the Ivy of before," he continued cruelly. "But current you holds no allure. The man who elevated me to princess status now cast me down mercilessly. That betrayal destroyed my faith in humanity. Which is why I can't believe Ethan wants nothing. I've waited for him to demand money, connections, anything I could leverage. Instead, he quietly said, "I found an apartment. I'll move out after getting paid tomorrow." My bitter laugh made him flinch. "Can I still cook for you after?" he asked hesitantly, head bowed until his messy hair became a fuzzy crown of submission. "Ethan," I said calmly, watching scarlet bloom across his neck. "Do you want it?" The teenager trembled violently, blush erupting from collar to hairline. When he didn't respond, I smirked maliciously. "Last time in the shower, I heard you moaning my name." "Sorry, I'm so sorry." Ethan's eyes glistened with shame, his voice trembling. "You took me in out of kindness. Yet I've had these filthy thoughts." I remembered how I'd investigated Ethan Brown's entire background the day after he moved into my penthouse. Every detail confirmed he'd never been touched. Suddenly, my urge to tease evaporated. I tilted his chin up. "Hold me." When his muscular arms encircled me, I expected memories of Jason parading Emily past me to resurface, anticipated the bitter satisfaction of revenge. Instead, I found myself mesmerized by the devotion swimming in Ethan's gaze. His lashes fluttered as his breathing hitched when I clenched around him, soft whimpers escaping like a puppy's. Admittedly, this was the first genuine peace I'd felt in 3 years. Whatever Ethan's motives, his clean bill of health and enthusiastic skills made him perfect for drowning my demons. He gently pried my lip free from my teeth, concern etching his features as my choked cry coincided with Jason's call. Jason hadn't adjusted well to being ignored. "Ivy, I need that $3 million necklace delivered immediately. It complements Emily's gown tonight." Amusement tinged his voice. "Don't sulk. These jewels enhance her charm but would be wasted on you now. Face it, you've lost your sparkle." A breathy moan escaped me. Static crackled before Jason exploded. "Where are you? What the hell are you doing?" "None of your damn business," I rasped, arching into Ethan's touch. "I'll sign the divorce papers." Just stop cock-blocking me with your pathetic calls. Ethan nuzzled my neck, calloused fingers trailing up my arm to end the call. Don't talk to him, sis. He's mean. 3 days later, I finally checked my phone while Ethan massaged my calves. Most notifications were Jason's escalating texts, frowny face, you're actually cheating? You're just hurting yourself to get my attention. Come beg properly and I'll take you back. Wake up, Ivy. You're not that untouchable goddess anymore. No one else will love you like I do. I snorted, palming Ethan's sculpted abs. Disgusting things? Please. This is glorious. When I finally called, Emily answered in saccharine tones, Jason just showered. He's too busy for your dram, tell him I'll divorce him. A scuffle ensued before Jason growled, you know how to properly apologize. Don't make me tiak, save it. I cut him off, watching Ethan's blush spread to his ears. I'd rather have fresh meat than your expired leftovers. Email the paperwork. Hanging up, I realized the old fury was gone. Chasing this mediocre man past his prime had nearly destroyed me. How had I not discovered sooner that forbidden fruit tasted sweeter? Ethan's shy smile ignited new warmth in my chest. Maybe second chances didn't require revenge, just the courage to bite first. Compensation settled. Your little girl can be made official in a month. Impossible. This time, Jason's refusal came firm through the receiver. I had no patience for arguments. Hurry up with the paperwork. My boy needs his status secured. I won't waste breath debating this. The line went dead. 2 seconds of heavy silence hung before my phone erupted with incoming calls. Coolly ejecting the SIM card, I texted my assistant from a burner phone to contact our lawyers about drafting divorce papers. Alone in the sun-drenched penthouse, winter seemed to seep through floor-to-ceiling windows despite the thermostat reading. I burrowed deeper into the sectional. Down comforter pulled to my chin. Yet the chill persisted. My chest ached with delayed realization this wasn't environmental cold, but the ice spreading from my crumbling heart. Where was the triumph? After years of swallowing humiliation, shouldn't victory taste sweeter? Instead, I felt drained. Ancient. My blowout-styled hair gleamed. La Mer-infused skin glowed. Yet vitality leaked from my pores like sand through fingers. Slumping against cushions, I stared at the coffered ceiling, inventorying 3 lost years. 3 years ago, I'd been untouchable. The steel-spined heiress who'd clawed 3 subsidiaries from my womanizing father's empire while his brood of bastards snapped at my heels. The society page's darling who turned charity galas into hostile takeovers wearing couture and Chanel lipstick. Then came the miscalculation. The marriage. My mother's tear-streaked face flashed before me, the perpetual victim playing both sides. Can't we be a proper family again? She'd sniffle after yet another paternal indiscretion, only to whisper shame me later, don't make waves. Darling. We need his goodwill. At least the mistresses fought openly. Their offspring came armed with spreadsheets and legal teams. Mother just dissolved. Like sugar in poisoned tea. A bitter laugh escaped. How ironic that my armor cracked over playground vows. 10-year-old me trembling before the marble monstrosity Dad called home. Patent shoes squeaking on polished floors. Then Jason materializing like some knight errant in J. Crew sweaters, don't worry, princess. I'll always protect you. The memory stung worse than his recent betrayals. I'd hoarded those words through boarding school hellscapes and shareholder coups, never realizing childhood armor becomes adult shackles. Warmth brushed my eyelids, blinking through moisture. I found concerned hazel eyes peering up the rescue cat I'd secretly adopted during the separation. His paw rested gently on my cheekbone, purr rumbling against my collarbone. Funny how strays recognize brokenness better than spouses. I nuzzled soft fur. The first genuine smile all day. This creature I'd saved from alleys now anchoring me to earth. Maybe self-preservation looked different than I'd thought. Ethan stood before me, his face etched with concern. He held a tray in his hands. I went to make food earlier, he said softly, setting the meal down with care before settling beside me. His voice trembled slightly. May I hug you? I nodded. His muscular arms encircled me with deliberate gentleness. Every fiber of his being taut as if I might shatter at any moment. This wasn't an embrace of possession but of shelter. He'd become my human pillow. As my cheek pressed against his solid chest, I heard the steady rhythm of his heartbeat through layers of flesh and fabric. Warmth gradually returning to my fingertips. He cradled my wrist against his heart. "Stop hurting yourself," he murmured. This marked the second time he'd spoken these words. "Use me however you need. Whatever makes you happy." I studied the youthful face radiating sincerity. His eyes still clear and bright with that blazing devotion. Love might be the world's most unreliable currency. Yet even temporary affection could staunch bleeding wounds. For now, Ethan made a decent emotional crutch. I could feel myself emerging from that dark labyrinth of anguish. The vengeful voices in my mind quieting into reason. These 3 years I'd armored myself with thorns, seeking mutual destruction. Now I simply wanted to thrive because someone wished thriving for me. As I leaned against Ethan's chest later, the world dissolved into blank whiteness. No Jason. No Emily. Not even Ethan existed in that crystalline moment, just me standing in endless rain, facing my mirror image. "Never betray yourself again," I whispered, sealing the pact with outstretched fingers. On the appointed divorce day, Jason didn't appear. After tracking his location through my assistant, I stormed into his usual bar's private booth. He lounged there half-drunk with Emily draped across his lap. At my entrance, he deliberately nuzzled her neck. "You're better," he slurred loud enough for me to hear. "Her heart's carved from stone." I crossed the room in 3 strides and slapped him. Divorce papers fluttered down like confetti. Ivy. His drunken act evaporated into genuine rage. "Sober now? Sign." My voice could have frozen mercury. "Never." His grip whitened on the documents. "Can't you take a hint? I just wanted you softer. Sweeter. Was playing nice for you all those years worth nothing? Why can't you bend once?" Another slap cracked through the air as he staggered up. "Because you were desperate," I sneered. "I lack your talent for faking devotion then demanding others change when the mask slips." His gaze turned glacial. "No wonder your parents never loved you." The barb glanced off armor I'd forged through countless sleepless nights. As I raised my hand for a third strike, Emily threw herself between us. "Sis. This is my fault. Punish me. Not Jason." Behind her, Jason's smirk died mid-formation as large warm hands enveloped mine. Ethan examined my reddened palm, breath ghosting over the skin. "Did that hurt?" Under the dim light, his eyes gleamed intensely. Jason's expression darkened. "Ivy. Give me an explanation." Ignoring him, I pinched Ethan's cheek. "After we finish the divorce paperwork, I'll take you for a drive." "Ivy." Jason raised his voice, irritation flashing across his features at being overlooked. "Sign the papers. I'm on a tight schedule." When I turned to face him with icy detachment, Jason scrutinized my face, realizing my resolve. He spat bitterly. "You're leaving me for this trash? What does he have that I don't?" "He's young." I smiled, throwing his own past words back at him. "And knows how to be properly deferential. Unlike certain aging knights who've passed their expiration date." The barb landed exactly as intended, echoing his justification when Emily had been his reason for wanting divorce. "You know I never." His lips trembled before he suddenly ripped the divorce agreement to shreds. "I won't sign. You and I are bound till death." "Ivy." His desperate gaze sought mine. But I was already leading Ethan away. "We'll revisit this when my boy gets hungry," I said casually. The crash of overturned furniture followed us out. Outside, Ethan's cheeks burned crimson. "I'm not a boy," he murmured, puppy dog eyes glistening as he nuzzled my palm. "I can prove it. Later," I husked, tugging his tie until he lifted me effortlessly. The back seat of my Mercedes swallowed our laughter. When Jason refused to cooperate, I simply upgraded my social calendar. At the Met Gala afterparty, I made grand entrance with Ethan draped over my arm mirroring Jason's past indiscretions with Emily. His cronies shifted uncomfortably. "Sis. What's this about? Meet your new brother? I purred, enjoying how the little brother title spread through Manhattan's elite faster than gossip about Jason's humiliation. The confrontation came during brunch at Cipriani. I'll buy back that Patek Philippe, I announced as Jason stormed in. Ethan deserves youthful accessories more than some midlife crisis relic. Color drained from Jason's face, recognizing the watch I'd gifted for our 5th anniversary. Must we air dirty laundry publicly? He rasped. I shrugged. I've been Manhattan's laughingstock since you paraded Emily at Bergdorf's. Now we'll share the spotlight. Our spat escalated when Ethan emerged wearing nothing but a frilly apron. Should I set another place? Ivy? He asked innocently. Wooden spoon in hand. Get rid of him. Jason roared. Ethan's grip tightened on the spoon. Not bringing your mistress doesn't make you honorable. You're the homewrecker here. Jason shot back. Difference is. Ethan stepped closer. All lean muscle and burning intensity. Ivy actually wants me. In her bed. In her life. The ensuing weeks saw Ethan blossom under the scrutiny. They can call me mistress all they want, he murmured later, tracing the constellation of freckles across my shoulders. I'll just love you louder. His teeth grazed my earlobe. Harder. Longer. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan's skyline glittered like the diamond bracelet now adorning Ethan's wrist, the one that perfectly offset Jason's reclaimed watch. Let the tabloids chatter. I'd finally learned to play the game by my own rules. So I continued parading around with Ethan. Whether it was buying cruise ships to set off fireworks for him or securing him high-profile sinecures matching Emily's shares in our jointly invested companies, Ethan reveled in his role. Privately, he transferred all gifted assets back to my name. Publicly, he leaned into his caricature of the flamboyant homewrecker, glaring theatrically whenever Jason appeared. I found his antics amusing. If the boy wanted to play, why not indulge him? The first to crack was Mrs. Wilson. During our tense tea session, her manicured nails clicked against porcelain as she lamented her fallen golden daughter-in-law. You used to be perfect. Her brittle smile tightened. Now you're making our family a laughingstock. I leaned back in the brocade armchair. I'm simply mirroring Jason's behavior. Why was it acceptable when he did it? Her teacup rattled as she slammed it down. This isn't you, Ivy. You've become completely unhinged. Unhinged? My laugh echoed through the private tea room. Jason inherits companies. So do I. He plays CEO. So do I. He kept mistresses. I keep companions. Where's the imbalance? When she reached for her tea in fury, I caught her wrist mid-swing. Careful, I murmured, leaning close enough to smell her bergamot perfume. I make a habit of disciplining your son. Shall I demonstrate? Jason emerged from behind the painted screen, jaw clenched. Enough. We'll divorce. But you leave my mother out of this. The negotiation table felt colder than our wedding altar. I methodically checked the room's surveillance cameras as Jason pleaded. What if I changed? Became the man you deserve? Like you were during our vows? I slid the papers across the mahogany surface. Sign. Instead, he swept them to the floor. Don't you see? His eyes burned with familiar obsession. You're radiant again. Like when we were teenagers. That fire, I'll never let it go. When he lunged for the window ledge, I didn't flinch. 4th floor. Landscaped hedges below, maximum drama. Minimum risk. Friends had warned me about this pathetic gambit. Jump then, I said, checking Ethan's dinner plans on my buzzing phone. But do it quietly, I have reservations at per se. Jason's scream tore through the office. You can't leave. I'll destroy everything. Pausing at the door, I glanced at the security camera's blinking red light. Try, I said. The footage is already cloud-synced. His choked sob followed me down the hallway. I texted Ethan to double our champagne order tonight, called for celebration. Jason burst into laughter. The cameras have been tampered with. If anything happens to me today, you'll be charged with attempted murder. Ivy, your recent high-profile actions have outshone even mine. When this blows up, Both your reputation and the Anderson family name will be ruined. That little company of yours won't survive. And you'll spend the rest of your life trapped by me. He released his grip and deliberately fell backward in a straight line. Sighing, I retrieved my own hidden camera from the flower bed. Did he really think I'd trust him again? Emergency sirens wailed as I stepped outside to see Jason lying in a spreading pool of blood. Bystanders paralyzed with shock. I dialed 911 like any concerned citizen. The fall left Jason paralyzed from the neck down. When I arrived at the hospital wearing my best power suit, Emily scurried from the bedside like a frightened mouse. Ignoring her, I perched on Jason's hospital bed and fake sobbed, "Oh honey. They say cheating leads to ruin, looks like you're halfway there." Ethan chimed in helpfully, "Big bro really messed up this family. Didn't he?" Mrs. Wilson charged in screaming about divorce until I sweetly clarified, "Why would I leave now? My darling husband and his entire company need me more than ever." The old woman fainted on the spot. As for Emily, I simply flexed my fingers. She surrendered every cent Jason ever gave her before sundown. Leaning over my paralyzed husband, I shredded the unsigned divorce papers. "Don't worry, sweetheart," I whispered. "We'll stay married until you outlive your mother. Then your entire fortune becomes mine alone." Tears leaked from Jason's eyes. Mine flowed 2 tears of gratitude. Our mutual friends had warned me about his accident plan. Such a shame those plush cushions he'd prepared got swapped for landscaping stones. Karma's funny that way. His head happened to hit exactly where I'd placed the hardest granite. "Let's have your favorite mistress handle your bedsores," I suggested brightly. Jason's bulging eyes told me he agreed. Within weeks, I'd consolidated the Wilson assets. When Ethan came to say goodbye, I transferred $7 million to his account. The boy who'd comforted me through dark days deserved his freedom. He'll never ask for help, pride won't allow it, but the door stays open. For now, maintaining this marriage serves my interests best. Ethan's young enough to build his own future without being my dirty secret. As for me, I've emerged from the storm stronger, with far more valuable treasures than revenge. When Jason left, he was still reminding me to remember to eat properly. I sat in my high-rise office, gazing at the river view outside. I thought this must be what they call the legendary first love. I called my secretary. "If the old man wants to discuss business with me, tell him to clean up his romantic entanglements first." The father who used to tower above me now acts subservient. I suppose this is the tycoon starter pack: wealth, loneliness, and a departed first love. There might even be some melodramatic reunion later. Thankfully, I don't have stomach problems now. And I've learned to use all available resources to take care of myself. No longer clinging to sentimental warmth or trapped by hatred. This current state suits me just fine.